You're listening to Geek on the Mic, a Chicago Bears podcast pregame show. This podcast starts right now.
Hey, what is going on, Chicago Bears fans? We are back for yet another Chicago Bears pregame show. We're moving on to week 2, but once again, I am joined by Isaiah Frey. How you doing, Isaiah?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Yeah, I wasn't very confident. I'm doing good. Yeah, but what a deflating loss in week 1 to the Green Bay Packers. Let's just get right into it. What is your initial reaction to that week 1 performance by the Chicago Bears?
You know, quite honestly, I would have to say, since doing this podcast with you, that might have been the worst loss I've seen since doing this. Just the way they played, man. Like it wasn't good football.
Yeah, and it's like you just don't have anything else to say, right? And it's just, I think what makes it worse is that, for me at least, doing this platform, I had to go on there and own it. You know, I was talking a lot of mess because I was that confident going into this game. You know, I wanted to see what Jordan Love did and how he handled the expectations, and he handled them well. You know, kudos to the Green Bay Packers coaching staff, Matt LaFleur. They put him in good situations to succeed.
Right.
And that's what you're supposed to do as a coach. To me, on paper, especially offensively, they definitely weren't better on paper than the Chicago Bears, but the coaches, they got out coached. The Bears got out coached, right? And at the end of the day, the Packers made more plays than the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. And to go back to the point of them being out coached, man, it was on both sides of the ball, offense. You know, it's unfortunate that watching the offense and how they operated for the game, they're very passive. You know, you look at the stat line of Justin Fields in the first half, you're like, oh, he's having a decent game. But you watch the game, it's like they're throwing screens 70% of the time. So it's like,
yeah,
at some point you got to open it up, man. And I wasn't very impressed with what I seen on Sunday.
Yeah. In your honest take and opinion after watching that game, before we move on to week 2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in your honest opinion, do you feel like they're handcuffing Justin Fields?
I do. I think they were trying to set him up to, be as successful as possible by, trying to run the ball and an enormous amount of screens. But he's in his 3rd year, man. It's time to let it go. You got to let that thing go. No more handcuffing. I mean, even with Jordan Love, that was really his first start, second start, really. But, LaFleur put him in spots to be successful, and he was still pushing the ball downfield.
Yeah.
And for DJ Moore, your high-profile receiver, to only have 2 targets in the whole game, that's not good football, man, at all.
Yeah. Like we always like to say, hopefully they can learn from this. They're still a very young team, still have to learn how to play together. But I know you like to say, just get 1% better. They didn't get 1% better during this game. There's really nothing you can take from this game and move forward with, right? So you kind of have to flush it out of your system and move on at this point.
Yeah, definitely. There, like you said, there was nothing I can think back in the game where I actually sat down and watched it. There was nothing looking back. I'm like, oh, that's a bright spot moving forward. There were absolutely no bright spots. It was a very stagnant game on their end, and the only bright spot I seen actually was the way LaFleur coached and how Jordan Love played.
And Isaiah, before Bears fans get mad at us, there was one bright spot on the Bears end, and that was Roschon Johnson. When he did get opportunities, he did look good. It wasn't a lot, but it was a slight bright spot for the Bears, but it didn't lead into a overall team success, right? So
yeah, it was definitely hidden in under a pile of bad trash, man.
Right, exactly. So now what I'm going to do, I can officially flush it out of my system. I was waiting to hear your take on it, but you know what? It's done with.
Right.
Some reason we can't beat those goddamn Packers, but it is what it is at this point.
Right.
We're now moving on to week 2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came away with a surprising win over the Minnesota Vikings, but to me, it's not too surprising. We kind of expected that from Minnesota to possibly take a little dip this season, so it's not too surprising. But what is your initial reaction to this matchup in week 2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
If you would have asked me before week 1, I would have said this is a Chicago Bears automatic win.
Yeah.
But now we're going into the game like it's going to be a dogfight, honestly.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I hope it's a dogfight. The Chicago needs this type of game where they're going in there and they got to grind it out. I'm kind of honestly, after what I seen last week, I would hate to give you a score prediction and act confident behind it, but I'm not very confident in a Bears win this week for the simple fact of what I seen last week.
Yeah, this game is very interesting because you're going against another very solid defensive front, a defensive guy, a coach, and Todd Bowles. That's gonna bring the pressure on Justin Fields. Good news that Justin Fields did look good against the blitz against the Green Bay Packers, but that's not the point. The point is, will they be able to establish a run against a guy like Vita Vea, for example? Right? They have a very stout defensive front, and it does really concern me because, like you just mentioned, when the schedule first came out, I was confident that we're going to handle business against Green Bay. But after what we saw, where we basically saw not a lot of positives in that outcome, it's like, okay, what can we expect in this matchup now against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? It could very well be a get right game, but at this point, we don't know. Will the coaches make the proper adjustments for Justin Fields? Will they make proper adjustments on the offense side of the ball? Will they make proper adjustments on the defense side of the ball? That loss to the Green Bay Packers was a full team failure.
Definitely. I seen a grade sheet of somebody who follows the Bears pretty closely, and they were all Fs besides special teams. Special teams was D minus, and I'd have to agree with that grade sheet. And like even on the we're talking about the offensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball wasn't no better. Like a lot of the times they're getting in the vanilla looks. The issue that we thought would be the issue moving into the season, the D line wasn't. Yeah. There was no pressure. And the DBs just didn't play as well as they should have played. So It's unfortunate, man. You go into the season with high hopes, and maybe it's just the first game jitters. We could chalk it up to that, but that remains to be seen until they play Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Isaiah, let's hope it's a get right game. Hopefully they can rebound a big way. That's why it is a long season. I'm not trying to press the panic button quite yet on Justin Fields, the Chicago Bears, and this football team. But if they come out against Tampa Bay and they look exactly the same and they didn't make any adjustments, we should start to be concerned, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't like to say it because I've been in the league long enough, and I understand the stresses that come with it. But you lose this game, man, you start talking about some other things that nobody wants to talk about. Unfortunately, that's just what.
And I think I know what you're talking about. I'm not going to bring it up on this podcast, but I definitely know where you're leading to.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't wish that on nobody because I know how that feels, man. But it's like, you get to that point and you do all these offseason changes, you don't see no improvement in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It is, that's not a good look.
Yeah, for sure. Now moving on to some key injuries for this game. Obviously, Kyler Gordon broke his hand during the loss to the Green Bay Packers. He's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, so absolutely a gut punch for a secondary that was already gashed in week 1, so that's not a good look for that secondary. And then cornerback Josh Blackwell, which is supposed to be Kyler Gordon's replacement, I believe, is dealing with a hamstring issue. He was limited in practice today, so he should be good to go, but I'm not sure where that's going to lead to. Looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, linebacker Levante David, the ageless wonder over there in Tampa Bay, he's dealing with a concussion, so he's probably not going to be playing this Sunday unless things change. And then their top cornerback, Carlton Davis, is also dealing with a toe injury. He did not participate in today's practice, so he most likely will be out for this Sunday's matchup against the Chicago Bears. What's your initial reaction to those injuries?
I would say it would affect them, especially the Levante David, former teammate of mine. Great player, great teammate, by the way. That's going to hurt them a lot. He's the leader on defense, so that's big. Carlton Davis is big, and that's something that Chicago needs to take advantage of. Man, they got to get DJ Moore the ball, man. I feel like they gave him the ball on one drive altogether. I think he caught like 2 balls, maybe in a row, maybe one play after another.
Yeah,
and you got the whole stadium hyped, and then after that they went away from him. So they have to get him involved more, man, and get that going.
You know what's funny about you bringing up getting DJ Moore involved? Like during the press conference today with Coach Flus, they brought that up about, him having 2 catches in a row. The Bears got into the red zone. And they're like, why wasn't DJ Moore in the game? DJ Moore wasn't even in the game. And during one of the red zone trips, Coach Flus was like, I didn't even know that. And people are like, what do you mean you didn't know that your best player wasn't on the field? So there's something going on in Chicago that's just not sitting quite right. I was actually going to do a video on this, but I kind of want to bring it up and get your reaction on it. There's like a really reliable Twitter, like a big Twitter guy. He goes by the Bears blog, and he has like some reliable sources within Hallis Hall. Sometimes you can't believe it, sometimes you can, but he's been right before.
Right.
Apparently he's talked to someone inside Hallis Hall, and I guess this Sunday is a must win for these Bears coaches. Do you buy that at all?
Yeah. It goes back to the point that I was saying earlier, man. That's exactly where they're at right now. This is the type of league it is, man. And You have a bad season last year. You get the number 1 pick, and you trade it away, get DJ Moore, and you get beat like that against Green Bay. Against Green Bay with an Aaron Rodgers-less team.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a must-win game. And if you go and lose to Tampa Bay with a Tom Brady-less Tampa Bay,
That's a good point.
those are 2 terrible losses, man. You can't do it. You just can't do it.
And it makes a lot of sense because when I first heard the rumor, I'm like sitting there like, why would they not let this thing play out? But this is dating back to last year now. So if you lose this game, I believe that would be, I think, 12 or 15 straight losses, something like that. So now you're on a massive losing streak dating back to last year. And the point that you brought up, this shouldn't be happening after all the additions and upgrades you made on both the offensive and defensive side of the football.
At all. It's inexcusable. And, I would have gave them a little bit more leeway had the game been closer and they would have played the right way. And you'd be like, okay, sometimes you just, you lose type of games like that. But it was bad on all 3 phases, 4 phases if you count coaching. It was just, it wasn't good football.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So Isaiah, now moving on to some key matchups for this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you have for us today?
I have the Buccaneers offensive line versus our defensive line. The biggest thing I seen last week was our failure to get pressure.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield did what he was supposed to do. He managed the game and, led him to a victory. But for the Chicago Bears to win, they're going to have to get pressure. They can't sit back in the Tampa 2 on 3rd down and not bring any type of pressure and allow Baker Mayfield to pick his spots, to convert first down. So they either got to bring an extra man, a 5th man for the pressure, or these front 4 got to get back there on their own and make a play.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. They just have to mix things up a little bit, right? Send a safety blitz. Send Jaquan Brisker or something, or send, when you had Kyler Gordon, send Kyler Gordon in there, or have Noah Sewell, the guy that you just drafted out of Oregon, a guy that can blitz really well. Bring him in on 3rd and longs, right? It was just inexcusable the amount of time that Jordan Love had. It doesn't matter if it's his first start or his 56th start. If you give someone time in the NFL, they are going to make plays. It doesn't matter on the weapons, who they have on the outside. They're going to make plays if they have time. I was really disappointed in the game plan because going into that game, I felt like the game plan was simple. Put 8 men in the box, set out to stop the run, Aaron Jones, which he killed us all game long. He beat us by himself, and make Jordan Love beat you. They didn't do that at all.
Not at all. And the floor was in his head, man, and coach's head. Unfortunately, on that touchdown that Aaron Jones scored on the we used to call it a Hillcrest route.
Yeah.
They knew 3rd and short, they're going to be in cover 1. That's what they do. And they knew he was going to be 1-on-1 with a linebacker, and that's barbecue chicken every single time. So you got to mix it up on 3rd down, man. You can't be so predictable. 3rd and long, you can't be just Tampa 2. 3rd and short, you can't just be cover 1. You got to switch it up every now and then.
This is how bad the Bears defense was last Sunday, Isaiah. It was 3rd and 3. I think Green Bay gets a false start. It goes back to 3rd and 8. And then Green Bay snaps the ball. Jordan Love fumbles it, picks the ball up, rolls out, and then throws a dart to a wide open Luke Musgrave for a huge gain. And I'm sitting here thinking, after all that, and the defensive line still didn't make it home. Where's the issue?
The issues all over the place. Why wasn't the tight end covered? Why wasn't there any pressure? Why did he have to pick the ball up and toss it? Why did Luke Musgrave fall down and still almost be able to get up and score? There was a whole bunch of stuff wrong with that play.
Yeah, like everything was going bad for the Chicago Bears. So I absolutely agree with you. That's a huge matchup. The defensive line, especially the amount of crap talking that Justin Jones does, saying that this is it, this is the time. And guys like him have to step up, right? Yannick Ngakoue, I'll give him his credit. He had a pretty good game. He had a sack, a tackle for loss. He was doing all that he can, but it can't just be one guy getting home. Where's the other 3? Where's the other 4? Whatever you do, you have to mix things up, Alan Williams. And it comes to a point where this starts to become on Matt Eberflus as well, because it is your defense.
Yeah.
Take control of it.
Yeah, it is. And this is the family I come from too. So I can speak the whole same language. I know exactly what they're thinking. And I'm a believer in the defense, honestly.
Absolutely.
But what I do know is that at times, if you do get passive, you can get picked apart, man. And that's what we seen on Sunday. You have to mix it up. You have to disguise the defenses. You can come too high, run different defenses, but you also got to bring pressure on third down.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you. So one of my key matchups, and I only have one for this game, it's Mike Evans and Chris Godwin versus the Chicago Bears secondary. The Chicago Bears secondary, Isaiah, looked absolutely lost. And that starts with Eddie Jackson. I don't know what happened to Eddie Jackson in that game. And I know it's tough because when the defensive line doesn't get pressure, it makes their job a little bit harder.
Right.
But there were still guys running rampant, wide open in the secondary.
Yeah. You made a good point. I always say the most important position on the defense is the defensive line, because the defensive line can make average defensive backs look amazing.
Yes.
But an average defensive line will make amazing defensive backs look average.
Yes.
A good example of that is watching the Dallas Cowboys against the Giants. They have an amazing defensive line. And not to say that their defensive backs are average, because they're not. But they make them even look that much better because they're getting pressure on the quarterback every single play. So that has to be a emphasis on this game, man, because I don't care if you have Darrelle Revis and Deion Sanders at cornerback, man. If you don't get no pressure on a quarterback, it's hard to cover that long in the league.
And absolutely. And this and for this key matchup, I should have put Mike Evans, Chris Godwin versus just the Bears defense in general, because if the Bears defensive line does not figure out a way to get pressure on Baker Mayfield, it's going to be a very long day. You let Romeo Doubs, Luke Musgrave, and Jaden Reed absolutely torch your defense. But now you bring in Mike Evans. Mike Evans had 6 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown. You have Chris Godwin to have 5 catches for 51 yards. Baker Mayfield is going to lean on these two guys to make plays. So if Baker Mayfield has time, whether you believe in Mayfield or not, he is going to pick you apart.
Oh, definitely. People can clown him as much as you want to, but he's an NFL quarterback and a former number 1 pick, man. He can play some ball. Let's not get it twisted, Leon. I know he hasn't lived up to the expectations that everybody thought he would out of Oklahoma, but he's an NFL quarterback, former number 1 pick, and he's starting for a reason, man. Don't get it twisted.
And not only that, Isaiah, is that they're coming off a pretty big win against the Minnesota Vikings. That was an upset. No one expected them to win that game.
Definitely.
They handled business, and now they're like, okay, they saw how the Chicago Bears played. They have a good chance to go 2-0.
They do, man. And Todd Bowles is an excellent defensive coordinator. I know he's a head coach, but he still calls the defense. He knows what he's doing, man. So this is not going to be an easy game by any means.
Yeah, and Isaiah, I'm pretty sure we don't have any more key matchups unless you have another one for me until we move on. So we're going to go ahead and move on to some X factors now for this game against Tampa Bay. What do you have for us?
I mean, my X factor is going to be both of the quarterbacks. Justin Fields, not to say that he didn't play bad. He just didn't get the opportunities that he needed to be what I know he can be. So he's definitely an X factor for me. And then obviously Baker Mayfield. If he plays well and he's getting those guys going, he's getting Godwin and Mike Evans going, it's going to be a long day for Chicago.
For sure, Isaiah. I think with Justin Fields, just looking at him right now, Justin Fields definitely isn't perfect. He'll say firsthand that, he left a lot of plays on that field in the Sunday's loss against the Packers. But he admits it. He's going to get better. But I don't think Luke Getsy's play calling, the offensive line, helped him out whatsoever.
Not at all.
It's a team effort. It's not just the quarterback, right? It's the Chicago Bears in general that have to get better this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right.
I do think it will improve. I'm hoping it improves for our sanity, Bears fan sanity. But sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
So it's just I'm just kind of lost of words, because you thought going into week 1, now you have more weapons. You would think that Luke Getsy would take what worked from last year. And now that you have more weapons like DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, you thought it would be better. But the crazy thing is there was no design runs. There was one design run.
No, not at all.
Where did they go?
Yeah.
So I think the Chicago Bears organization has to look in the mirror. The coaching staff has to look in the mirror. The players have to look in the mirror and come in angry and pissed off because you got embarrassed on America's Game of the Week. Yeah. And now people are writing you off because you don't deserve the respect anymore.
No.
Why should people respect you, right? But now you have to come in pissed off and try to get back on the winning ways.
Yeah.
Or you haven't won, but you got to try to win this game.
Yeah, you definitely got to come out with you're playing for your job. I hate to say it, man, but your job is on the game, and that's how you got to play. I mean, it's like that every week in the NFL, but this more than ever is a game that you have to win. You can't go in there and think they, oh, if we lose, we'll come back. No, no, this is a must. Like the blog said, this is a must-win game.
It is. It definitely is. So, Isaiah, my X factors, first one, we talked about him already. DJ Moore. Once again, he had 2 targets for 2 catches and 25 yards, and then the dude just disappeared. No offense to Jair Alexander, great cornerback. He did not shut him down for the full game. We just didn't look his way.
No, yeah, it wasn't his fault at all.
Yeah. We absolutely just ignored DJ Moore. The good thing about this is that DJ Moore actually has some familiarity with going against Tampa Bay, playing in Carolina, had to play him twice a year, and he actually had a lot of success against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay had trouble stopping him. I think last year he had 186 total yards for 2 touchdowns going against Tampa Bay. And then when you look at the Bucs secondary, they're definitely vulnerable.
Right.
There's definitely some opportunities. They gave up 344 passing yards to Kirk Cousins. Of course, you have Justin Jefferson, but still, there is going to be opportunities for DJ Moore to shine. So they need to go to DJ Moore early and often. He was brought here for a reason. Essentially, you traded away your number 1 overall pick for DJ Moore. It's absolutely inexcusable that DJ Moore only had 2 targets in the loss to the Packers.
What makes it even worse? This is what makes it 10 times worse is that they this is what they call it. His nickname's almost DJ Yak Moore, right?
Yeah.
None of the screenplays that they ran, and they ran a lot of them, none of the screenplays actually even went to him. So it's like you're not even trying to get him involved in the screen game. So what are you doing?
Right.
Because he's good with the ball in his hand once he catches it. So if you want to run all these screens, why not give him a chance to do the same thing? So it's like that's the frustrating part is that you're running screens. You're not even running to the man that you got him over for. So I don't know.
And that's why that rumor makes sense that this is a must-win game for the coaching staff, because I think the ownership is kind of like, okay, what was all the hype about? Why did we go get DJ Moore? Why is Tremaine Edmonds here? Why did we spend all this money to overhaul the offensive line, or at least try to, and you get blown out?
Right.
In a very big game, even though it was week 1, a very big game against the Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers team. So that's why I think the rumor is a little bit more true. I think this is a must-win game. If the Bears go out there and get embarrassed, someone's getting fired.
Somebody.
As early as week 2, as crazy as it sounds, someone's getting fired.
100%, man. You number 1 pick, man, and perform like that week 1. It don't work that way.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Especially when you haven't been good for a long time and you had expectations to at least go out there and put up a better performance. At least if you lost by 3, okay, you put your best foot forward. You got blown out. So yeah, I definitely understand why the ownership could be a little bit frustrated at this point.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So my X factor for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Isaiah, is Antoine Winfield Jr. This guy is a Swiss Army knife for Todd Bowles and that defense. They use him in a variety of different ways, but he's very good against the blitz, right? The last time the Bears played Tampa Bay in Tampa, it was a terrible showing for Justin Fields. It was when Matt Nagy was here. I think it was like a year or 2 ago. So it's been a long time. But he had himself a game. I think he had an interception on Justin Fields. He sacked Justin Fields. And he's definitely going to be coming. Todd Bowles is going to use him. So the Bears offense needs to know where Antoine Winfield Jr. is on the field at all times. And if they don't, that one player can wreck your whole game plan.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's a ball player, man. I love his game. Used to study his dad when I was playing, man. I love the way he played at nickel. He's just, like you said, a Swiss Army knife. You can put him anywhere on the field, and he's gonna find a way to make a play. And like you said, they gotta keep an eye on him because he will blitz and he will come, strip the ball, and make a play. So you have to be ready and look out for Antoine Winfield Jr.
Yeah, absolutely, Isaiah. So as we look at this game, what are some keys, 3 keys to a Chicago Bears win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 2?
I think the first key we spoke of earlier is not being so predictable on defense. Mix it up. Mix it up on third down. Give them different looks. Bring a little bit more pressure. My second key would have to be having the offense open up their playbook.
Yeah.
They're predictable as well. You knew exactly what they were going to do on certain downs and situations, and running a screen every single series is not neat. I love the screen game, but it shouldn't be your primary play on your offense. So I expect them to open it up more. And then controlling the line of scrimmage is my last key. You got to control it on both sides of the ball. You got to give Justin Fields time to pass the ball, and you got to get pressure on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, my favorite key of yours in today's episode of Geek on the Mic is opening up the playbook a little bit. And I actually did a video the other day of how to get the Chicago Bears offense going. And one of my big things is that I felt like going into the season, our tight end room was one of the better units on our football team. And we didn't use them. Of course, Cole Kmet had 97% of the snaps, but then Robert Tonyan and Marcellus Lewis only had 5 and 4 snaps respectively, right? So I feel like the first thing, do more 2 tight end sets, Jomo packages, because I feel like if you do more 2 tight end sets, that's not only going to help the run blocking, right? Because obviously Marcellus Lewis and Cole Kmet are excellent run blockers. That's also going to give Justin Fields a chance to see how the defense reacts to these jumbo packages, to these 2 tight end sets, right? To see, okay, they're in this, so we should be running this. That's what 2 tight end sets do for you. I'm not sure how you feel about that, but I think that would be an excellent idea to use your tight ends a little bit more.
I agree. I mean, and like you get Mercedes Lewis on the team, he's there to block. Back in his heyday, yeah, he was out there catching the rock, doing his thing. But he's on he might be on year 15 now.
Yeah,
he's there to block.
Yeah,
so you got to get there, like you say, get him out there to use it, and then run play action passes off of that, man. You get him in there. The tendencies to think when Mercedes Lewis is in there, you're running the ball, run a play action pass, and I bet you him or Cole Kmet will be open in the 2 tight end set.
Absolutely. And I think getting the run game going against a very stout defensive front in Tampa, I think you get the run game going. Obviously, that makes your quarterback and Justin Fields a little bit more comfortable, and that will definitely open up the play action game as well.
Right. I agree.
So now we're going to move on, and I know it's going to be tough today, Isaiah. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to move on to some predictions here. And somehow I do have a prediction for this game, but the floor is yours. Who's winning this game, Isaiah?
Man, I hate to say it. I sat down and watched the whole game last week. And, most of the time when we do this podcast, I watch a little bit of it, and then I'll go in the highlights, and I kind of, get what I say. I got to sit down and watch the whole game.
Yeah.
I have to go Tampa Bay over the Chicago Bears 24-17. Unfortunately.
That's a gut punch. That's definitely a gut punch, because you didn't think you were going to do that this early.
No, I didn't, man. And I try to be fair when I come on here. I don't want to be a homer and all that. But just after watching what I watched last week, man, it just wasn't inspiring for me.
Yeah, they could definitely prove you wrong, though. You've been proven wrong before. When I look back to last year,
I want to be wrong.
You want to be proven wrong.
I want to be proven wrong.
You're trying to do some reverse psychology here, maybe.
Yeah, yes, I would love to be wrong right now.
Okay. I think you know where I'm going with this. I'm such a homer. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I feel like I'm one of the biggest Bears fans out there. I will ride and die with my Chicago Bears. My whole fantasy team is Chicago Bears. And that's why my fantasy team probably sucks, right? That's why I'm probably gonna lose every single game. But guess what, Isaiah? I don't give a damn. I ride and die with my Chicago Bears. I really feel like this is a get right game. I really do. And I think it's simple changes that can be made to get the offense going. Simple changes to be made to help the defense out a little bit. If they can adjust, if the coaching staff can prove that they can make these adjustments, this is a winnable game for the Chicago Bears. It really is. So I actually have the same score prediction as you, 24-17, but in favor of the Chicago Bears.
I like it. Okay. I like it.
I think the last time that we had a difference in opinion on the score, that's when the Bears came out and absolutely demolished the New England Patriots. I don't know if you remember that from last season.
I do.
So maybe this formula works. Maybe next week you do the same thing, even though next week we know who we're playing. We'll get that later. Yeah. But maybe this will be the new formula. But I think this can be a get right game, not only for Justin Fields, but the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Like I said, man, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I want them to go out and prove me wrong and go out there and play a great game. So, Justin Fields needs to go out and play out of his mind, and Luke Getsy has to get him in positions to do that.
Yeah, I bet you would love to come on the podcast that next week if you were proven wrong, saying, thank God that the Bears played well, right? So
I would be happy. I'm an honest man. I'm going to come in here and be happy that I was wrong.
Absolutely. So Isaiah, as always, once again, thank you so much for coming on to another pregame show here on Geek on the Mic. It's always fun chatting Chicago Bears football with you, and hopefully the Bears can rebound in a big way this week.
Most definitely. We'll see.
And Isaiah, as always, to you and to all the Chicago Bears fans out there, bear down.
Bear down.
You've been listening to Geek on the Mic, a podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Thanks, guys, and bear down.